Welcome to the first ever It Is What It Is here on WPOP 10. I'm Peter Peden.
I'm Zach Mash.
And we've got a full show for you today, so let's jump right into it.
Let's start off with our quick takes from the week that was. Kirk Cousins and his receivers appear to be back in sync. After a week filled with questions about their relationship, Adam Thielen answered all of them with over 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Are the Vikings back on track for good?
I don't think so. I think one of the major reasons why there was this tension was because of Stephon Diggs requesting a trade, and he didn't really have a game that I feel like he would be happy with. 4 receptions for 70 yards, that's okay, but for a receiver at his level, I think you want like 90 yards plus and a touchdown. Thielen had 130 and 2 touchdowns. I feel like Diggs had 1. He would have been better, and I don't know if he still wants to be here. How about you?
I've been a Vikings believer since the very beginning, so I think that they are indeed on track. I think that there was a visible effort to get the ball down the field to Thielen and Diggs. Maybe Diggs didn't have as big of a game, and Thielen had the big game this time, but I think the effort is what Diggs wanted and what Thielen wanted, and you could see that. Kirk Cousins had a great game. He was back at himself. There wasn't all these checkdowns or anything. They got the ball down the field. They got the ball in their playmakers' hands, and really, I think that's all the Vikings players can ask for.
Yeah, but you're playing the Giants, and the Giants are probably the worst secondary in football. They allowed Dak Prescott to look like an MVP. If you're only getting 70 yards, is that really a good game against a bad team?
I'm just talking about the plays that they ran.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the plays that they ran.
Saquon Barkley suffered a high ankle sprain in Week 3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But just 10 days after the injury occurred, Barkley appeared at the Giants' practice, running near full speed and doing hard cuts. With the timeline for his return was originally 4 to 8 weeks, do you think Barkley should play against the Patriots this Thursday?
You know, it's a tough thing for the Giants this week because you have to weigh what you want out of this season if you're the Giants. The Giants are 2-3 right now. They've showed promise. They have their young quarterback in the game. They've played well at times. Do you want Barkley for the playoff push? Do you want him to come back and make sure that you can try and make something out of the season? The Patriots are going to be tough regardless of if they have him or not. Obviously, he'd be a big help. I wouldn't blame them if they kept him out an extra week, but if the doctors say he's ready to go and you're the Giants and you're trying to make a playoff push, I think you got to put him out there.
I think if he's ready to go, why not play him? You're 2-3. This is the biggest game of the season. If you go 2-4, that's a hard thing to come back from. Barkley's maybe the best running back in football, top 3 definitely. He can bring another aspect to the game. If you watch the game against the Vikings only played with like a second against the pass because they knew the Giants couldn't run on them. And if they had Barkley against the Vikings, you can make a case they would have won. And
he would definitely give them some much-needed help against a tough opponent. Christian McCaffrey had yet another huge day on Sunday, totaling 237 yards and 3 total touchdowns in the Panthers' win over the Jaguars. McCaffrey now leads the league in rushing and is off to a historic start to his season. The question now, is he the best running back in the NFL?
Yes, he is. He's the best receiving back, and he's probably top 5 running back. In today's NFL, you need to have them both. He's probably the fastest running back in the league. He can do anything with the ball, and he's carrying this Panthers team to wins. They're 3-2. They might be able to make a push for a wild card. Who knows? If Teddy Bridgewater slows down, they might be able to push for the title. And he's the major reason why they're doing it. They don't have Cam Newton. They have Kyle Allen, a second-year quarterback, and he's the main reason. And he had over 230 yards and 3 touchdowns last week.
Here's the thing, though. You use Cam Newton being out as a negative, but Kyle Allen has actually played better than him, so I'm not sure that's a negative. And McCaffrey is a great player. Player, top 3 running back in the league, amazing ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and run the ball. But I'm going to take Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Todd Gurley's ability to run in between the tackles.
Well, Ezekiel Elliott had a terrible game against the Packers, and he probably has the best
People have bad games. People have bad games. Come on,
but he has the best offensive line in football.
I would take Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley, and Todd Gurley.
The Cowboys are a run offense. Saquon
Barkley had over 2,000 yards last year. Ezekiel Elliott has led the league in rushing almost all of his first 3 years, and I just don't think McCaffrey's at that level quite yet.
All right, agree to disagree. Tonight is Game 3 of the ALDS between the New York Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. Yankees are up 2-0 in the series and need 1 more to advance to the ALCS. With Luis Severino on the mound, do you think the Yankees get it done?
I do think they get it done. I think it's been clear through the start of this series that the Twins, as they've been for basically the last decade or so, are just no match for the Yankees at this point. Luis Severino obviously hasn't had much time this year. He's missed, 97% of the season, something like that. And he's on the mound tonight. I think he's going to be fired up, throwing as hard as he can, and I think the Yankees get this done tonight. I don't think Jake Odorizzi is any match for them.
Yeah, I think Luis Severino is the Yankees' best pitcher. If you have your best pitcher playing why wouldn't you win? I mean, Tanaka and the other guy, James Paxton, they pitched, they won. So why can't they win? I feel like it's going to be a close game, but I think the Yankees are going to be able to pull through.
I agree. That's all the time we have for quick takes. We will be right back with the meat and potatoes of the show.
Stick around for more of It Is What It Is. I was supposed to say that.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. We have reached the meat and potatoes of our show, so let's get right into it. The Dallas Cowboys dropped their second in a row on Sunday against another team with a winning record, getting routed by the Packers by a score of 34-24. The Cowboys' 3 wins this season have come against the Redskins, Giants, and Dolphins, who have a combined record of 2-12. Are the Cowboys getting a wake-up call here?
Yes, they are. I mean, I feel like Dak Prescott, he had the good game against the Giants, and then he slowed down against the Redskins, and then he also slowed down against the Dolphins and the Saints, and then this is another bad game for Dak. This is his year to get the money. I don't think for his last 2 games, I don't think he's shown that he's a max player. I don't think he's even shown that he's a starting quarterback in the league. We've all had doubts. We've all had doubts about Dak's ability to throw the ball. He's been missing throws. So, yeah, I think it's a wake-up call for Dak. And, well, I think one thing they need to do is run the ball with Zeke more and then just play action it out. And try to get the ball to Amari Cooper. He's your best wide receiver. And right now, he's your only good receiver. How about you?
I don't see how you can see this as anything other than a wake-up call for Dallas. I mean, you saw those stats right there, 2-12 in all their wins this year, and they really didn't even look competitive against Green Bay. They didn't look competitive.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, I've never been a big believer in him. He obviously got off to a hot start, but you look at these games, and he's just not there for them. He's not there for them. And last week against the Saints, the offense struggled yet again. They were having trouble getting the mix of Zeke and the passing game going. And I don't see how you can't look at them differently after the last 2 games. It's pretty clear that maybe they're not what we thought they were.
Do you think they still make the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I do think they still make the playoffs. The talent speaks for itself. But as terms of Super Bowl contenders, I think you gotta halt the brakes on that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think they would. If they keep up the same what they're doing right now, you have the NFC West that's looking really solid. If the 49ers can pull out the game tonight against the Cleveland Browns, they go to 4-0. Then you have the Seahawks at 4-1, and then you have the Rams who can always come back. Those are 2 wild cards.
I still think they'll win the division, to be honest with you.
You think they will?
Yeah.
I think the Eagles can put a good game against them.
They can, for sure.
Yeah. After Andrew Luck shocked the sports world with a surprise retirement announcement a week before the season started, there were many questions about the Colts' ability to contend in the AFC. They had one of the biggest regular season wins in years on Sunday, knocking off the Chiefs 19-13 at Arrowhead. Are the Colts a legit threat in the AFC?
Are they a legit threat in the AFC? The question is anybody besides the Patriots a threat in the AFC? And I'm not sure the answer to that question is yes. So the Colts have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent. Brissett's playing real well. But are they contenders in the AFC? Can they make the playoffs? Yes. Can they have a mid-seed? Yes. Are they going to the Super Bowl? Probably not. But as we've seen before Andrew Luck got hurt, this team was being pegged as a team that could go all the way to the Super Bowl. So the talent speaks for itself. If Brissett keeps up his play, who knows? Anything can happen. But I don't think you can look at anyone besides the Patriots as going to the AFC at this point.
Let's not forget they lost to the 2-3 Chargers the first game of the regular season.
They did.
And so I don't think they have what it takes so far. But what you said that the Chiefs or the Patriots are the only team that are like real in the AFC. I think the Chiefs are. That's just one bad game. If the Chiefs can turn it around, maybe just lose one more game, clinch home field advantage, I think they can win the game against the Patriots at Arrowhead. I don't think they can go into the Gillette. Let's not forget, the Patriots almost lost to the Bills at Buffalo. They weren't blowing out the Redskins. It was like the Redskins were winning 7-0 at the start, so they start off slow. If Julian Edelman or Josh Gordon have a problem, who knows?
That's a great point, and that's a really great point by you. I don't think the Chiefs are going anywhere either. So can the Colts? Clearly, they've shown that they can compete with the Chiefs. We haven't seen them against New England yet, but they're a great team. We'll see how it goes in the AFC. But you're right, the Chiefs are definitely still going to be there. I'm not going to write them off after one bad game.
Well, I think the team to question is the Patriots right now, but that's a different story.
They've had a soft schedule for sure.
Yeah. The Redskins.
The Redskins are off to an 0-5 start to their season after losing to the Patriots on Sunday. The next morning, reports surfaced that the team and head coach Jay Gruden had been having disagreements about Dwayne Haskins. After a disappointing start and infighting in the back office, Gruden was let go. The real question now is, what's next for the Washington Redskins?
I don't know. And I don't even know if the front office knows, to be honest with you. You draft Dwayne Haskins, who's the who's the quarterback for Jay Gruden. You don't let him have time to develop. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a situation like the Arizona Cardinals, where you draft a rookie quarterback, he's not doing so well because he's on a bad team. You fire the coach, you bring somebody new in, like Cliff Kingsbury, or somebody like the Sean McVay archetype, and then you draft a new quarterback. They might have the first pick in the NFL draft. If they have the first pick in the NFL draft, why wouldn't they take Tua from Alabama? Or if they have a top 5, Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow from LSU? How about you?
The Redskins. Well, they have not known what they're doing for a very long time. So what's next for the Redskins? I don't know at this point either. I think they have to really take a look at themselves in the mirror, and they got to look from top to bottom of this organization, starting with ownership.
Yeah.
They have been one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the NFL for so many years now. They fired countless coaches. Their GM doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, how can you pick a quarterback that the entire room doesn't agree on? I don't understand how you can do that, how you can take Dwayne Haskins if Jay Gruden wasn't completely on board. I don't see how you can do that. That decision is so important for the future of a franchise. To have half the team not wanting him and not believing in him is just a recipe for disaster, and I think you're seeing that right now, and it had to happen.
Well, I don't think it's as big of a problem if Jay Gruden doesn't want him, because if Gruden doesn't want him, he can just leave. You know, it's not like you're focusing around Jay Gruden.
How many times did someone really do that?
What?
How many times did somebody really do that, though?
Yeah, good point. Bleacher Report released this week ranking their 50 greatest players of all time. There were some notable questions raised regarding the list, including Stephen Curry at 10, ahead of names such as Hakeem Olajuwon and Kobe Bryant. Do you have any problems with the list?
Yeah, I do have some problems with the list for sure. Andy Bailey, the guy that wrote the article, is very into analytics and some of the number crunching on Bleacher Report, and I'm not a huge fan of his for sure, but Stephen Curry at 10, which I know you're going to want to talk about, yeah. I think that's way too high. If you look at the players that were behind him, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin Durant, Dirk Nowitzki, I don't see Stephen Curry, right, Kobe Bryant. I don't see how that makes sense. I know he's gonna look at the numbers and whatever, and those deep dives into his stats and everything, but there's no way that Stephen Curry has accomplished more than those players in his short NBA career. And also, Carmelo Anthony not being on that list to me is an abomination.
Well, I don't know about that point, but this list is so disrespectful in so many reasons. When did Steph Curry become good? 15, 16, let's say?
No, so, before that.
Okay,
12, he was
good. He was good. He was good, but he wasn't a top NBA player. No, he wasn't. No, he was. People didn't know who Steph Curry was before that. No, they did. Some random Joe didn't know who that was.
He was a top 10 draft pick.
Okay. So was Johnny Flynn. Okay. How does that deal with anything? All right, let's get rid of that. Kobe Bryant is a 5-time NBA champion and 1-time NBA MVP. And he's also a 2-time Finals MVP. None for Curry. And then the other thing I have a problem with is, how is Michael Jordan above LeBron James? Now, I know this is debatable. I know this is debatable.
I knew you were going to go there.
But LeBron has better stats than MJ.
Not true.
He's been to more finals, 7 straight NBA
how many
finals
of those
experience.
He won? How many of those has he won?
3. How many finals has MJ been without Scottie Pippen or Phil Jackson? Phil Jackson is probably the best coach. Phil Jackson's probably the best coach of all time, and LeBron's never had a coach like that. All right. That's it for
the meat and potatoes of the show. Stick around for our biggest winners and losers after the break.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. Let's move on to our biggest winners and losers of the NFL weekend.
Peter, who is your biggest winner of week 5?
Well, surprisingly, I have Deshaun Watson. Now, over the past couple weeks, I have DeAndre Hopkins for fantasy, and besides the first week, he's done terrible. But Deshaun Watson yesterday, 426 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's tied for second for most touchdowns with 11. I think, and they're playing some pretty tough teams in the next couple weeks. I think if he can put on a performance, not as good as that because that's like a once-in-a-lifetime game. That's probably going to be his greatest game ever. But if he can put on something like that, keep it up, I think he has a chance to win MVP. And here's another thing. In the NFL, you usually don't win multiple MVPs, one or two. Tom Brady has like one or two. Payne has one or two. Drew Brees has 0. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to repeat it again, and I feel like the voters might want to change it up.
I'm not sure about that. Deshaun Watson, he's a great player, but the Texans are only 3-2. I think he's been very up and down. Sure, He had a great week last week, but MVP, I think that's a little bit much.
And he has a good talent.
That's a little bit much.
If the offensive line can keep it up, and he has the talents of Will Fuller and DeAndre Hopkins, if Will Fuller can stay healthy, you're automatically double teaming DeAndre Hopkins, so that leaves that open. You have Kyle Fuller, who always goes on the post, and then you have Kenny Stills, another deep threat. He has the talent for the receivers. If his offensive line can step up, why can't he? And he's also a mobile runner.
They got to focus on making the playoffs.
Yeah, but okay. But if he's an MVP and he plays well, they're going to be able to make the playoffs.
Well, I'm not so sure.
It's not
about
like
that.
it's okay. So he misses the playoff and wins the MVP. Has that ever happened? No. If you win the MVP, you're going to be a good team. So I feel like the Texans are going to become a better team.
Okay.
I feel like their defense is going to step it up. They did lose DeVano County. That's a big problem.
Okay.
But I think he can step it up.
Okay.
All right, Zach, who is your biggest winner?
My biggest winner is going to be the Green Bay Packers as a whole. They lost to the Eagles last Thursday night. That was a big loss for them. At home, that was definitely a very difficult loss for them. But to be able to come back with a dominating performance in Dallas against the Cowboys, I think cements them as a real threat in the NFC. And Aaron Rodgers looked great. Didn't have a touchdown pass, but the real important thing that they were able to do against Dallas is run the football. And that is something that they have not been able to do that effectively with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback for a long time. And I think it adds an extra dimension. Obviously, their defense, it's been well documented, is vastly improved with the additions of Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith. They have a pass rush. Their secondary looks good. And I just think they really made a statement on Sunday beating Dallas in Dallas the way that they did, which was a dominating effort.
Do you think this is like more of a morale boost, or do you think this is just like a watch out to like the NFL?
I think it's both. I think that you look in Green Bay's locker room, and I'm sure they're giving themselves a lot of, a pick-me-up for that one. And I think this is definitely a watch-out. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We all know what he's capable of. And if they have the team that they have around him right now, and it looks really great, I don't think there's really any ceiling for how high the Packers can go this year.
I don't think the Packers are going to be as good as they were in that game, because I think the Cowboys aren't a good team. I think people are overrating them like they always do. It's the Cowboys. So everybody's going to be hyping them up.
Of course.
Yeah, and I feel like
true.
their defense, I thought their defense would become one of the best. I thought they'd be like a little bit of the Bears with Van Dyke, Jaden Smith, and the solid
and that just goes to my point there. They have so much talent in the linebacking core.
But they've been disappointing me. I thought they were going to do a lot better. I mean, they didn't do bad against the Saints.
Bad against New Orleans.
But the Saints aren't really a good offensive team with Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's an overrated player, but,
Who would your biggest loser of the week be?
The Bears. In the week leading up, you heard Khalil Mack saying, "Oh, this is the biggest game of my life. Oh, I'm so ready for this game." And you didn't really hear anything from the Raiders because everybody thought, "Oh, Khalil Mack's going to have a 4-sack game. It's going to be like a 28-0. The Bears are just going to shut him out." Khalil Mack had one hit on the QB, and he had no sacks. They lost 28-21. A disappointing loss in London. You can maybe say that's a primetime game. And then Chase Daniels, I mean, to be honest, there's not much difference between Mitchell Trubisky and Chase Daniels. I think Mitchell Trubisky is overrated. And another thing.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Coming into the regular season, there was so much hype on David Montgomery. Oh, this is the next Saquon Barkley. He's going to have an explosion of the year.
Saquon Barkley? I never heard that, to be fair.
Okay.
I really never heard that.
They thought he was going to have an explosion like Alvin Kamara or somebody or Sony Michel.
Okay, fair.
So, yeah. Do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, the Bears definitely lost this weekend, but it's always weird when you're going to London, and I think they'll bounce back. But the Raiders have surprised me. They played pretty well.
Yeah. What if Antonio Brown was still on that team?
You never know.
All right, Zach, who is your biggest loser?
My biggest loser of the weekend is Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers is running out of time, I'll tell you that. They had a loss to a Broncos team that's not very good over the weekend. And I think Phillip Rivers does not have a Super Bowl ring. He had a great team last year. He's got another talented team this year. He drops to 2-3. It's got to be disappointing for him. And I just think at this point, is he ever going to get that ring? He has such a chance this year The AFC outside of the Patriots is not very strong. He's got as complete a team as anyone. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Melvin Gordon back. I think Phillip Rivers needs to step it up, and they need to start winning games. And I think that losing to the Broncos for them is really unacceptable.
Well,
and they have higher places on their mind.
Did you think the Chargers were coming into the year were a contender?
Yeah, I did. I did. Last year they went to the playoffs and they had a really great record. So
well, I think when you have the
I don't
Chiefs,
see any
I
reason
think
why
when you have
not.
the Chiefs in the division, it's kind of like, ooh, we have to match them. And I think
Sure.
there's so much expectation.
Sure.
And that offense line has been really terrible. Mike Williams hasn't been stepping it up, the first-round pick a couple years ago. Melvin Gordon's just coming back. You had Eckler, who's not terrible, but he can do something.
They got to
I
beat
think
Denver.
Melvin
They have
Gordon
to beat the
can come back.
Broncos. They have to beat the Broncos.
I think the Broncos are a solid team.
The Broncos
they
are not
the
a solid
Bears.
team.
So are the Bears a good team?
Any team
Are
that has
Bears-
Joe Flacco
are
as
the
their
Bears a good
quarterback
team?
in 2019 is not a good team.
Okay. All right, whatever.
That's all we have for our biggest winners and losers. Stay tuned for our biggest takeaways of the week.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. Let's get back into the final segment of the show with our biggest takeaways, and we will pick the biggest games of the week. So what is the biggest takeaway of the week, buddy?
I think that the biggest takeaway of the week is that the Patriots are the clear favorites in the AFC. I don't even think it's close at this point. The Chiefs, you just saw lose to the Colts at home. I mean, the Colts we just talked about. I don't really think they're contenders. The Chargers we just talked about. They haven't really done anything either. So I think that the Patriots are running away with the AFC, and that would be my main takeaway for sure.
Let's slow that one down for a second. Last week, not the game that just finished, it was the Bills versus Patriots, 16-10. If there's no blocked field punt, the Bills win.
Yeah, but who won the game?
Okay.
Who won the game? That's all the Patriots do. They win the game.
Okay, who won the game? Well, if Josh Allen's back, then the Bills win.
But they didn't.
Yeah, but he was injured.
The Patriots won the game.
But he was injured. If Tom Brady was injured and the Bills won, everybody would be talking about, oh, well, the Bills got lucky. Tom Brady was hurt. That's what always happens.
Okay, and if the Giants had Patrick Mahomes, they'd probably be 5-0.
Okay,
So-
but the Giants don't have Patrick Mahomes.
What would be your biggest takeaway?
I feel like the Seahawks are contenders. I mean, they beat the Rams at home. I think they'll win the division. They have a solid quarterback. They probably have the second best quarterback in the league behind Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson. I mean, Aaron Rodgers might be up there, but who knows? I think Russell Wilson
He's
is up there.
definitely up there.
Tyler Lockett is a phenomenal deep threat. DK Metcalf is coming into himself, and I feel like Dissy, their new tight end, is going to fit well. And then you also have the two running backs, Penny and who's the other one?
Chris Carson.
Chris Carson. Two solid running backs. They have if they get the running game up, and I feel like their defense is a little bit shaky, but their D line is solid, and I think the secondary needs to come in a little bit, but they'll get used to it.
I can't really go back at you that much with that one. The NFC is wide open this year for sure. The Seahawks have as good a shot as anybody. And what matters most is the quarterback, and Russell Wilson has been terrific this year, and he's really been terrific for the last couple of years. He's almost become underrated in my opinion. The Seahawks have a lot of talent, pretty good defense, great running backs like you said, and I think they will definitely be there.
Okay, Zach, what's your game of the week?
My game of the week is going to be Browns versus 49ers, which is actually tonight on Monday Night Football. You have the undefeated 49ers at 3-0. You got the Browns at 2-2, coming off a really big win for them, and it should be a great game tonight. And I think that the Browns will win this game, though.
And my game of the week, I have the Patriots versus Giants. It's a Thursday night game. If Saquon Barkley comes back, Daniel Jones is playing the Patriots. I think that'll be a good matchup.
That'll do it for our first